I'm doing an experiment with a simulated hotspot under crust, and the materials I will need are water, wax, aquarium, gravel, a wok, which I'm using on top of a pot, gloves for touching hot things, goggles for being safe, a beaker for my volcano, small bowl for melting wax, a scale to measure both the wax and the sediment, or the aquarium gravel in this case, and a timer. So I'm using like a lap timer to time how long my experiment has been on the stove. I'm looking at, will volume of wax make a difference, wax placement, volumes of sediment, and possibly compaction. It's aquarium gravel, so it doesn't necessarily compact extremely well, and will also be tougher than things like sand. So my variables are looking at wax volume, wax placement, so center versus not center, and where I'm going to treat it as where the majority of the wax volume is. So if there's 12 grams in the center and 2 grams on the sides, I'm going to say the wax is in the center. Sediment volume, so the more sediment on top, the more pressure holding the wax down. So I did do a control, which has already been videoed, with 19 grams of wax in a sacrificial cup for testing my setup. There was no sediment involved. It did end up disastrous, as was anticipated, but I have changed my setup for the following experiments and will hold better. So in this experiment, the wax is a hotspot of like the upper mantle. The sediment will be lower crust, and the water serves as more of an upper crust or atmosphere, depending on how you want to look at it. And our water will also give our wax some buoyancy, with which will drive the wax from the bottom when heated. So when the wax is heated, the buoyancy force will overcome the cohesive force of the wax between the glass of the beaker, and then we'll get our action. The hypotheses I'm thinking is if the aquarium gravel will or will not form to a resemblance to a volcano. And so now I am doing my boiling water, and so I will place this cup. No water, providing a problem. As for our experiment, we'll remedy and continue. Water is replaced. Replacing wok with experiment glass. Will be no steam output for a while, may pose problem to experiment. Alternative idea, heating wok and glass directly could pose increasing problem. May test it now since we have a sacrificial glass. So heating rear element, moving anything that may be in the way. Placing wok with glass for control onto rear heating element. Again, tangible heat from wok. Visible change in wax body at bottom of glass, and side appears to be peeling. Not going to touch glass due to safety. Wax body is melting at the bottom. Very visible. Possible. Whoa! Conclusion about safety concerns correct. Sacrificial glass sacrificed. Not going to use direct heat method. So here is the beaker with the 461 grams of aquarium gravel and 7 grams of wax. Relatively flat. There is some additional gravel inside, and I will be putting it on the already obviously venting hot surface and starting the lap timer. Timer is started. Going to try and center this as best as possible. I use room temperature water to fill it and hopefully not shock the glass. And so now the timer is started and will time how long this takes before something happens. 3 minutes in and 20 seconds. No visible change. There's still water in the container, as evidenced by venting steam. No visible change with the wax or the sediments yet. 6 minutes and 15 seconds in. Still no visible change. Oh, that was perfect. So you can see there's a void right in there. So I guess if we treated that area as a lava tube, that is how the lava is making its way out via path of least resistance. I'm gonna go ahead and call this 45 minutes. And there's our surfaced wax or magma into our upper crust. And I'm gonna call this one, since all of the magma will escape through the side there, as a bust, or at least completed with an unexpected result. So this next run of the experiment, I'm doing 234 grams of gravel on top of 153 grams of wax. So the wax disc is actually quite significant this time. There is a small bit of wax around the edges. I did just so that we have better visibility. So the gravel is centered entirely on top of the wax. The wax disc is roughly this inch or so on the side. You can see where the red is. There. So there is some gravel on the bottom from the previous test. I need to now spot within our hotspot maybe. Oh, there's more. Ooh, a lot more wax moving. So you can tell it's from over there. You can see it coming out there. Oh! There goes the whole thing. Not really any good vantage points. Oh, here we go. So it looks like most of the wax just came right there. Alright, after letting it cool some and being thankful for having sacrificial dishes, I was able to scoop out that wax. Looks disgusting enough in order to evaluate. So it seems that this side opposite the camera is slightly higher, in that all of the more dense actual rocks that were mixed in with the gravel got dumped into the center, making it almost a rift or like a continental divide area. So I would say my hypothesis, as per resembling a volcano, did not happen. However, it did represent plates, which is an interesting find. Ending conclusions, I do not recommend this unless you have sacrifice.